Hey everybody, welcome to House Connell. My name is Regina Connell. Hey. So you guys, I'm so deeply sorry. I wanted to run an impromptu live just to finish out today's reading in Killing Kennedy, The End of Camelot. Remember, that's our weekend killing series by the great authors Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. It's only my honor, and I only hope to pay honor and homage to their great works. You guys, I hope the volume's okay and it's not overbearing. Anyway, so before we get started, I wanted to do a huge shout out to the Officer Tatum show, his good queen Corinne, also Candace Owens. Man, thank you for everything that you're doing, and you have our full support. And however we may ever serve in your court, Queen Connell stands with you. All right, guys, so make sure you run on over and get your Shady Bunch shirt. Okay, and I have a lot more merch from the good Officer Tatum show. So go on over to tatumplus.com and secure your merch. Also, Queen Corinne has her side. I'm too fidgety. Officer Tatum has his side, and then there's a uni side too. So anyway, check out Riley Gaines, check out Candace Owens, and guys, he's been a wonderful inspiration for me, and I would be so honored to call him friend. I would say that we are friends. When I first started my TikTok journey, it was not easy. I earned my status to live. I played by all the rules, and the first, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 people that followed me or chose to be faithful viewers of my content. Anyway, so I got my channel up to 11.2 thousand to be exact. And then all of a sudden, TikTok snatched my account away, which was okay. I was like, okay. So, I tried a different strategy. So now I'm back on TikTok. I'm supposed to have live capability, but I'm not sure what's going on. So the person that I want to shout out to, they've been with me since the very beginning. They've stayed true. Their content is amazing. You can check them out right here on YouTube, also on Instagram and TikTok. So introducing Mo Ryland. I'm not even going to say introducing because y'all already know him. And if you don't, I'm highly surprised. I'll just say that. He's an amazing man. He's an amazing father. And he's funny as all get out. And he talks on real issues too. And he doesn't hold back. And I really like that. So Mo Ryland with Hood News Radio. You guys, you can find his information. I do promote a lot of his stuff, as well as the Officer Tatum show and so many other content creators. I always like to support the ones that are getting bigger and help them get bigger, because I know that once they get bigger, there will be that niche for me. All right, you guys, my name is Regina Connell. Welcome to House Connell. Welcome to BB and Bobina's Book Nook. So today we are deep in the throes of the Killing series. So we just wrapped up To Kill a Mockingbird, the Pulitzer Prize winning novel by the author Harper Lee. Man, what an emotional journey that was. So before that, we are actually still currently, I've laid down all the material for it, but we're currently in our Job journey. It's a biblical journey, and it's a tale of the greatest man that ever lived in all the East before, the stone tablets and just after the rainbow. So take this journey with us. So we're almost wrapped up with our Job journey. I started it to pay honor and homage to my father, who passed away November 19th, 2010. We launched this journey, our Job journey. Trek 1 launched on his birthday. I did a Facebook Live, and we launched it February 2nd, 2024, this year. So we're almost at the end of that. So the next thing that we will be doing, and we won't lose momentum, so the following Thursday on the 25th, which is actually my grandfather's birthday, which is his father before him. Anyway, so we will be launching Read the New Testament in 93 days. So the acronym for that, I'm big in for acronyms, it's going to be RNT 93. My oldest daughter was born in 1993, and I like to pay her honor and homage too, as well, because we will be working out of the King James Version, which is a Bible she gave to me. While I'm currently reading Enoch, the book of Enoch, on my own, I'd like to reserve any judgment with that, because Enoch is mentioned in the book of Genesis. So any of you that have read your Bible as it happened, as it should be read, I think. I don't know how else we're going to get to know anything. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get back to our Killing series. And right now, don't forget, on Fridays, we release Killing Jesus. I should always be prepared. I'm never prepared. One moment. Sorry about the noise. And I am going to start doing lives twice a week. My good Lord King husband. So the good Corinne and Brandon Tatum have inspired us to, and I'll say it again, Candace Owens is the one who inspired me to start a podcast. I never really wanted to, she's so brave to do the things that she does. And I mean, I would be honored to serve in her court any day, like hold a fundraiser or whatever she needs. We'll do it for her. Anyway, so my dream was to get the Bible out as it happened. And, I'd always been inspired by the good Job. And so I was like, you know what, let's start with that. And so that's what I did. And then, I started To Kill a Mockingbird. We just wrapped that up. So on the podcast, YouTube Music, I believe it streams out, but I don't know what chapter it's in. We've got it in the calendar, but it's just hard when it's just, yourself and another person. And anybody who started a podcast, they can all tell you. And a lot of people do promise a lot of things and then they fall away. They take a lot and then they fall away. And that's okay, because I just keep thinking it's heartbreaking every time, but we pick ourselves up and we go on, because, it's funny, the very people that, I guess for lack of better terminology, the ones that actually, try to tell us more about themselves and, try to tell us the things that we should understand, yet they've never watched a minute of our content. And if they had, they didn't watch it all the way through. And I will tell you, on YouTube, that's how you get promotion, is the number of views. They go by the hours. I think you have to have so many hours of viewership. So that means, and I will tell you on TikTok, from the analytics that I've studied, on most lives, the average viewership time is 3 to 5 seconds. What does that tell you? How does that speak to you? I'm not sure. It seems like a lot of people's attention span just isn't there. So I don't think we could really call it ADD anymore, could we? All right. So remember, on Fridays, we do Killing Jesus, A History by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. And I will say I have a unique advantage, as I've read Killing Jesus about 3 or 4 times. This is actually my 4th time. So I put it on my voice recorder app because I was hoping to do audiobooks. And my good sister-in-law told me I should start a book club. So here we are, book club. Anyway, so Friday is Killing Jesus. Then I'm going to stick that right there. I'm really picky about how my books go. I'm so picky about that. I'm weird. All right. I usually take the covers off because I don't like to damage the covers, and I'm very rough on books. So today we're doing Killing Kennedy, the end of Camelot. And so far, it's an amazing book. And so where we are now, I'm actually reading with y'all the first time. And I had read like maybe 50 to 100 pages into it. Then on Sundays, we are reading Killing Lincoln, the shocking assassination that changed America forever. I should have put all that in all caps. All right, guys, without further ado, let's continue on where we leave off. I think I got frustrated yesterday and I was like, forget this. I'm just never going to get it done. So let's just start it over. Let's just do that. We're 8 minutes into this. It's a chunk of a chapter, but I think that we can get through it. Let's stick together and let's do this. If you, you have the patience with me, I'm sorry. I know I move around a lot. All right. All right, guys, here we go. I guess I could see where I left it, I think. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got powers at work against each other. All right. So I know I didn't finish it out. We were just a few pages into it. Yeah, we read about the children. And okay, so the last thing we left off with was really hard to read. And I'll remind everyone that I do set the age limit to above 18. It's a lot of sensitive material, but all these are facts. And I can confirm because I know my history. Number one, But I never want anyone to just take my word solely for it, But it does take time to do all this research, and this is, years of collective data that I've stored. And thank God, I do have a steel trap when it comes to long-term memory. I don't know how long I'll have it, but as long as I do, I'll seek to honor those that went before us. And that's what Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, when Bill O'Reilly does his note to readers, as he always does, especially in the Killing series, because I think that's the only thing I've really read of his, but I do intend to read more as much as I can. Anyway, so in Killing Jesus, a History, they plainly tell you that they do not refer to him as Jesus the Messiah, because it is a history. It's an unbiased account of Jesus's life, which we've been able to uncover so little of. So what can one do? We can only make assumptions from what was going on around him, the writings that were done. And one of the biggest things we have is our Christian Holy Bible. With that said, he tells us plainly that they referred to him simply as Jesus of Nazareth, which is all he ever, I feel like, hope that anyone would do. All right, so without further ado, let's get back into killing Kennedy. We got through the what happened with LBJ. Was it LBJ? Wait, hold on. It was Governor Wallace, I want to say. So if I misspeak, you guys, that's why I highly encourage that you run out and get your own copy. And that's the whole point of a book club. When you join a book club, you usually get your own copy, and then that way you read it along. And so, and we know before there was written word, it was all oral anyway. But, let me fix this cord because I'm just going to be loud. Hold on. Let's try this again. All right. Oh, yeah, that's better. Okay. I'm going to get me a different boom arm. I think also fidgety, and this little iron thing, it catches everything. And then I got it on an iron table, so I'll figure out how to do this. Okay, here we go, guys. So we're in chapter 11, and we just read about the kids, the children's, what was it called? Hold on. Well, let me get to the chapter I was supposed to be in first. Okay, I don't understand why I did that. All right, so yeah, it was called the Children's Crusade. I don't even know why they would do that. And yep. And even Malcolm X had told them not to do this, not to put the children out there like that. And then let's see, Bull Connor is the one who lets loose with the fire department and their hoses. And I'm not going to reread that because that was it was hard to read. Okay, here we go. So we'll pick up right here. Bull Connor watches with glee as the German shepherds lunge at the children, ripping away their clothing and tearing into their flesh. Sounds like a horrible person. Oof. Connor, a pear-shaped, balding man who wears glasses, appears mild-mannered. But in actuality, he is a vicious, good old boy whose beliefs are even more racist than those of Governor Wallace. The public safety commissioner wades into the thick of the action, encouraging policemen to open the barricades so that Birmingham's white citizens can get a better view as the police dogs do their worst. This stuff is so hard to read, you guys. I will tell you that. All right, let's continue on. By 3 p.m., it all seems to be over. The children who haven't been arrested limp home in their soaked and torn clothing, their bodies bruised by countless point-blank blasts of water cannon. No longer bold and defiant, they are now just a bunch of kids who have to explain to their angry parents about their wrecked clothes and a missed day of school. Once again, Bull Connor has won, or at least it seems that way. But among those in Birmingham, this afternoon is an Associated Press photographer named Bill Hudson. He is considered one of the best in the business, willing to endure any danger to get a great photo. He has ducked bullets during the Korean War and dodged bricks while covering the civil rights movement. On this day in Birmingham, Bill Hudson takes the best photo of his life. Appropriately, it's in black and white. He snaps it from just 5 feet away. The photograph is an image of a Birmingham police officer looking official in pressed shirt, tie, and sunglasses, encouraging his German shepherd to take a chunk out of black high school student Walter Gadsden's stomach. The next morning, that photograph appears on the front page of the New York Times, 3 columns wide, above the fold. And so it is that John Kennedy, starting his morning as he always does by reading the papers, sees the image from Birmingham. Disgusted by what he sees, Kennedy makes a point to tell reporters that the picture is sick and shameful. Just one look, and JFK instinctively knows that America and the world will be outraged by Hudson's image. Civil rights are sure to be a major issue of the 1964 presidential election. And Kennedy now understands he can no longer be a passive observer of the civil rights movement. He must take a stand, no matter how many votes it might lose him in the South. Meanwhile, the reputation of Martin Luther King Jr. is on the rise. He will soon see the Birmingham situation resolved in his favor, thanks to the Children's Crusade. After Bull Connor's initial victory, the public pressure against Alabama authorities becomes so intense that change is inevitable. Boone County, get your house in order, please, if it's not already. We're just asking questions, okay? We are friendlies. We are neighbors. Despite the triumph, Martin Luther King Jr. and John Fitzgerald Kennedy are not on the same page. In fact, they are on a collision course. So they do have a photograph here. I do not want to show it for 2 reasons. The first reason is I highly encourage you to run out and get your very own copy of Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard's Killing Kennedy, The End of Camelot. And I believe this one was released in, let's see. So they did Killing Lincoln first, then Killing Kennedy, then they did Killing Jesus. So I don't want to spout out the copyright dates. I could look, but let's continue on since we're already almost 20 minutes into it. Let's keep going. So anyway, and if you can't afford a copy of your own book, and Bill O'Reilly, he's a great author, Martin Dugard as well. If you can't get one at your local library, DM me or personal message me, email me, whatever, and we'll figure out how to get you a copy, even if I have to give you my very own. It's a little torn and tattered, but it reads the same, right? All the pages are there. Let's keep going. And I haven't written in it, I don't think. I usually like to use sticky notes. The Bible is that's why I have so many Bibles around here, because I write in them. I'm a doodler. All right, let's keep going, guys. Civil disobedience is not limited to the American civil rights movement. 5 days after the children of Birmingham peacefully march into that wall of water cannons and police dogs, and 2 days after a U.S. Army lieutenant is killed by the Viet Cong just outside Saigon, a crowd of Buddhists gathers in the South Vietnamese city of Hue. It is May 8, 1963, the 2527th birthday of the Buddha. Excuse me for a moment. That's interesting to know. I'm going to write that down because it said the 2257th birthday of the Buddha, and that was in 1963. So I have to make the math. Is the math? I'm not very good at math. That was in 1963. So we'll math it out later. All right. Let's keep going. I like taking notes, even though I lose my notes. All right. 5 days. Oh, wait, we already read that. The protesters have come to demonstrate against a new law set forth by President Ngo Diem that makes flying the Buddhist flag illegal in Vietnam. Diem's great desire to convert his country to Catholicism, and vital to that effort is the systematic subjugation of the nation's Buddhist majority. Diem, whose regime President Kennedy has long supported, but whose anti-Buddhist stance is contrary to American foreign policy, denies promotions to officials known to be Buddhist, and looks the other way when Roman Catholic priests organize private armies that loot and demolish the pagodas where the Buddhists worship. That's despicable. To give his crusade credibility in the eyes of the American government, Diem insists that Buddhism and communism are the same, a suggestion akin to J. Edgar Hoover's quiet belief that civil rights and communism are synonymous. Now, as the 3,000 unarmed government, police, and troops, the crowd, bullets and grenades scatter the marchers, killing one woman and 8 children in the process. And I'll say it again and I'll ask it again, which brings me to my next point. We will be reading Musab Hassan Yusuf's story, The Son of Hamas, that will be filling the void for To Kill a Mockingbird once that series has ended. I'm going to start laying down the material, but right now I'm just going to let To Kill a Mockingbird play out. I don't know where it's at in the podcast. I'll have to look, but I know it was pretty. I like to stay ahead on top of my content simply because I like to be available in case, whoever knows, I might get an actually paid job. I know my husband would be so happy about that because he set me up from the get up here. All right, let's continue on in the sake of time. I usually don't like to go over 30 minutes, but I think we are. But we're doing pretty good. Let's keep going. If I can keep my mouth shut and my commentary to a minimum, let's keep going. All right. This is crazy. Now, as the 3,000, I already read that. Yeah, that's terrible. 8 children, 1 woman and 8 children are killed. Tensions grow throughout Vietnam during the month of May. Diem, like Bull Connor in Birmingham, appears to have the upper hand. Nothing can be done to end his reign of terror. On June 3, government troops once again attack Buddhists in Hue, using tear gas and dogs to disperse the demonstrators, but the crowd will not leave and continues to reassemble. Now, Buddhists turn violent, shouting obscenities at their government attackers. Finally, South Vietnamese troops pour an unnamed red liquid on the heads of Buddhists who are sitting in the streets praying. 67 of these men and women are taken to hospitals with burns covering their scalps and shoulders. Unable to control the protesters any longer, Diem's soldiers placed the entire city of Hue under martial law. Still, just as the Birmingham integration movement was losing steam before the Children's Crusade gave it new life, so the Buddhist crisis has begun to bore members of the foreign press. Diem's persecution of Buddhists has become old news. But on June 11, 1963, a 73-year-old Buddhist monk will give those reporters something to write about. Oh, this should be interesting. And I feel like we've heard this story not too long ago. Anyway, let's keep going. It is almost 10 a.m. as Thich Quang sits down on a crowded Saigon thoroughfare. He is dressed in a flowing saffron robe. Duke is an ordained member of the Buddhist clergy, a monastic who lives a meditative life of poverty. This morning, he has chosen to protest the government crackdown on his beliefs by burning himself to death. Now, you guys, do you remember that happened recently? Oh gosh, I think it was a few months ago. I think the man did it in front of the Capitol. And I mean, they're going to do anything to try to do distractions. I don't know who that man was. I don't know but nobody talks about it anymore. All right, take your time. Let's keep going. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, here we go. This is not an impulsive decision. Many within the Buddhist community have sought someone who would immolate himself to draw attention to their plight. Such a startling gesture can't help but attract media coverage from around the world. Indeed, the day before, members of the foreign press were told to be in front of the Cambodian legation the next day if they wanted to see something special. Not many journalists accept the invitation. So few are on hand to witness the gray Austin sedan driving slowly toward the intersection of Phan Dinh Phung Boulevard and Le Van Duyet Street. 350 Buddhist protesters carrying banners in Vietnamese and English that denounce the Diem regime follow right behind. The Austin stops at the intersection. Thich Quang Du gets out, gathering his robes about him as he does so. A cushion is placed on the street, and the aging monk sits down. He assumes the lotus position and begins to recite the words, return to eternal earth, Buddha, over and over again. Duke has come to this point in his life willingly, but nothing has prepared him for the moment when a fellow protester pours 5 gallons of gasoline over his bald head. The fuel soaks his robes and flows down his back until the cushion on which he sits is saturated. The protesters gather in a circle. The protesters gather in a circle around Duke to prevent the police from interfering. In one hand, the monk holds a string of oak prayer beads. In the other, he holds a match. Duke lights the match. There is no need to touch the flame to his person because the fumes are enough to make his body burst into fire. His face, as seen through the flames, is a mask of pure agony. But Duke does not cry out or even make a sound. His skin turns black. His eyelids are fused shut. Yet, as 1 minute passes and then another, he still does not die. The police cannot get to him. They are blocked by that protective circle of protesters. When a fire truck tries to get close enough to drench the monk with water, other monks throw their bodies beneath its wheels to stop it. Finally, after 10 agonizing minutes, Thich Queen Duke topples forward, dead. His fellow monks lift the charred corpse into the coffin they have brought with them for this moment. The destroyed body does not fit, and one of Duke's arms sticks out from the lid as they carry him back to the Zaloi Pagoda. His heart, they discover later, despite the intensity of the flames, is not badly damaged. The monks remove it from Duke's chest cavity and place it on display in a glass chalice. In the months that follow, other monks will also martyr themselves, and one South Vietnamese official will even make the mistake of telling a reporter, "Let them burn, and we shall clap our hands," end quote. As in Birmingham, this moment is the beginning of the end for those who hold power in Saigon. And once again, an Associated Press photograph will make the difference. Malcolm Brown, the AP Saigon bureau chief, was one of the few journalists to witness the immolation of Thich Quang Duc. His picture of the burning monk horrifies people around the world. And as with Bill Hudson's photo of police dogs attacking innocent protesters, that shot will become one of the most enduring and iconic images of the 1960s. And again, John F. Kennedy will read his morning papers horrified by the photograph. Instantly, the president knows that his Vietnam problem has just escalated. He can no longer support President Diem. The world will turn on the Vietnamese leader after such a horrific image. Diem must go. The question facing John Kennedy, his fellow Catholic, is how? Let's see what he comes up with, guys. All right, guys, we're doing pretty good. Let's finish this out. It is 5:45 p.m. on May 29 in Washington, D.C. President John Kennedy has had a busy day of back-to-back meetings in the Oval Office, yet his burgundy tie is neatly cinched around his neck, and his tailored navy blue suit coat looks as immaculate as when he put it on after his 1 p.m. nap. Right now, JFK is needed in the Navy mess on the lower level of the White House. He rises slowly from his desk, stretching his back as he does so, then begins the short walk downstairs. The president has no illusions over what is about to transpire. Today is his 46th birthday. His staff has abruptly disappeared, leading him to believe that they have already made their way to the Navy mess for what is supposed to be a surprise party. The cares of the world are never far from Kennedy's shoulders, even during a time of celebration. So, as he walks to a party in his honor, there is a third incendiary situation looming over his administration. This problem has nothing to do with race or religion or war. Instead, it is about that most primal of all human longings, sex. And it has far more potential to end his presidency than does Birmingham or even Vietnam. Hey, baby. I'm almost done with chapter 11. I was like, I gotta get this done. So it's probably like, did you have fun? Awesome. Do you mind if I finish this? I'm on live YouTube. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I had to say hello to my hubby. He took our 7-year-old to the water park. All right, let's keep going. Pull this down just a little bit. All right. JFK has long been aware that revelations about his philandering would ruin not only that carefully burnished image of him as a family man, but also his political future. Turn it down a little bit. Testing. Yeah, that's better. Sorry about that. All right. His philandering. Now, he need look no further than Great Britain to see exactly what that downfall might look like. John Profumo, a dapper 48-year-old British war hero and politician, has been caught having an affair with a 21-year-old call girl named Christine Keeler. Profumo is married, and his wife, former film star Valerie Hobson, has chosen to forgive him. If Profumo were any other man, the embarrassing story might end there. But John Profumo is also Britain's Secretary of War and one of the most powerful men in the government of Prime Minister Harold Macmillan. And not only is Christine Keeler sleeping in his bed, but she is also having sex with a deputy Soviet naval attaché. Wow. When first confronted about his affair in the House of Commons, Profumo denied it. On June 5, he will be forced to admit that he lied. A disgraced Profumo will be shunned by his colleagues and forced to resign. Profumo will disappear from the government and high society. His humiliation will be so complete that he will undertake extraordinary measures to seek redemption. He will volunteer to scrub toilets at a London shelter for the poor, a penance that he will continue to perform long after Queen Elizabeth restores his social status in 1975 by making him a commander of the British Empire. Prime Minister Macmillan is not guilty of a single indiscretion, but he is the man ultimately responsible for any secrets Profumo might inadvertently have leaked to his mistress. 71% of the British public is in favor of either Macmillan's resignation or the chance to vote for a new prime minister via an immediate general election. John Kennedy is riveted by the scandal. The similarities between himself and Profumo are too many to be ignored. Both are nearly the same age. Both have glamorous wives. Both are decorated World War II veterans, and both men even go by the nickname Jack. But there is no comparison in their womanizing. JFK's indiscretions go far beyond those of Profumo. John Kennedy has been extremely fortunate so far that no women have stepped forward to boast about betting the president. And he has no reason to believe that any of the women who spent the night in the White House were spies. But as his brother Bobby reminds him, even one woman going to the tabloids could ruin him. The damage would go far beyond the innuendos Marilyn Monroe spread around Hollywood before her untimely death. The irony is that Jackie's pregnancy has made John Kennedy more devoted to his wife and family than ever before. His staff has continued to see the president and first lady holding hands and spending far more time together. Though only Jackie bears witness to the president saying nightly prayers on his knees. Back in March, Secret Service agents were stunned when JFK actually showed up at the airport to greet Jackie, Caroline, and John upon their return from a trip. The president had clearly missed his family and was eager to see them, end quote. Agent Clint Hill will later write. As Jackie's pregnancy becomes more visible, the Kennedys are spending more weekends together at Camp David, the presidential retreat in Maryland that Dwight Eisenhower famously named for his grandson. Situated on 125 acres in the Catoctin Mountains, the thickly forested retreat features miles of trails for walking, a large main cabin known as the Aspen Lodge, a putting green, a driving range, a skeet shooting facility, horse stables, and a heated outdoor pool. One I would never swim in, probably. Wire fences patrolled by the Marine Corps, guards ring the entire facility. Best of all, to the Kennedy family, Camp David is one of the only places in the world where a Secret Service agent does not hover nearby every minute of the day. The Marines are deemed enough to protect the first family. Now, in the Navy mess, it is Jackie who leads the chorus of Happy Birthday the instant her husband enters the room. He feigns surprise as a glass of champagne is slipped into his hand, and his staff gathers around to present an array of gag gifts. But Jackie Kennedy has more surprises up her sleeve, for the party later moves from the Navy mess to the presidential yacht, Sequoia. Only family and a few close friends are invited as Sequoia cruises slowly up and down the Potomac. The quiet birthday gathering turns into a raging party. Dom Perignon 1955 flows, and music from a three-piece band blares in the aft salon. The twist has gone out of style, but it's the president's favorite, so the band plays Chubby Checker again and again. Secret Service agent Clint Hill will later say that he's never seen John and Jackie Kennedy having more fun together, doing the twist, the cha-cha, and everything in between. End quote. The cruise is set to end at 10:30. But JFK is having so much fun that he orders the skipper to take her out for another hour, and another, and yet another, all the while ignoring the lightning and rain that keep Bobby, Ethel, Teddy, and the rest of the party indoors. It's 1:20 in the morning when the Sequoia finally docks. Washington is asleep. John and Jackie Kennedy are awash in the romance of a very special evening. The Birminghams and Vietnams and Profumos will once again confront the president in the morning, but for now, those problems are very far away. The man with 6 months to live doesn't contemplate it, but those closest to him may remember his last birthday party as his very best. All right, guys, I am going to show you a quick picture right there. I never know how to do it. There we go. So it's just a picture of the Kennedy family, and I'll read the caption underneath, and then we'll close out. So, despite his infidelities, President Kennedy was devoted to his family, shown here on Easter Sunday, 1963, parentheses, Cecil Stockton, White House photographs, John F. Kennedy, Presidential Library and Museum, Boston, parentheses close. And here, once again, is the picture and description. So they were a lovely family. Melania is very elegant. She is a true first lady and a true queen. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me again for our killing series for Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard's Killing Kennedy, the end of Camelot. My family's just gotten home. So I am going to probably, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but for right now, we're going to finish out the killing series. June 25th is, I'm going to do a live. My husband and I are collabing. We're going to do a movie. So once a month, we'll be streaming live, and we're going to do a movie together. And so it'll probably be about a 3-hour live. And the first movie we're going to be doing is the movie Home. It's a DreamWorks picture, and it's animated. And we really wanted to pick it apart because I really think that it's a strong satire, and it was for the time that it came out too. All right, guys, again, I thank you so much for joining me. My name again is Regina Connell. This is BBN, Bobina's Book Nook. Don't forget to join me for Queen Regina's Bible Beginnings, BBB, Biblical Bible Beginnings. All right, guys, don't forget, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and also go get your Shady Bunch shirt. And I do have other merch shirts. This is the merch perch. And I'll be getting some merch from Hood News Radio too, and promoting that as well because he is a good friend. So remember, anything that we do for someone, let's not have expectations unless that we say, hey, these are our expectations, and if they agree to it. But we take people's choices away when we, go under the guise, hey, I'm just giving you this, and then all of a sudden, bam, we have expectations on it. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. My name again is Regina Connell. We'll see you next time here on BBN Bobina's Book Nook. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for Killing Lincoln by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, the shocking assassination that changed America forever. And I would have to agree because we're trekking right along. So we're in chapter 12 in all three. Don't forget, we're cracking open in Killing Jesus History. We're starting book 3. All right, guys, thanks for joining me once again. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye-bye.